Forrest. At the old ball game. Hey!
This is the Vintage Baseball Corner. I'm Chris. Today we're going to talk about Tom Seaver, aka Tom Terrific, highlight his career a little bit, and by doing so I'm going to show you my graded card run of Tom Seaver cards, and I'll show you some ungraded cards, fill in some of the gaps on the graded cards I don't have. I'm also going to give you some basic stats and accomplishments, career highlights, if you will, for Mr. Seaver, and then also share a story or two with you that you may not know, or that you may have forgotten over the years especially about how Tom became a New York Met and why it took the commissioner's office to intervene to make that happen. So we'll start with some basics. Seaver's career went from 1967 to 1986. That's 20 years. He played for the Mets, the Reds, the White Sox, and the Red Sox. He won 311 games against 205 losses. That's a 60+% winning percentage. Had an career ERA of 2.86 with a WHIP of 1.12. He had 3,640 Ks. And he's now, when he retired, and he's now 6th on that list. He also had a 109.9 WAR. Tom was a 1967 Rookie of the Year. He was a 3-time Cy Young Award winner, and also finished in the top 5 in Cy Young voting 5 additional times. He was a 12-time All-Star. He had 16 straight opening day starts. The postseason was not much different. Tom had 8 career postseason starts. He had a 3-3 1-loss record in those starts with just a 2.77 ERA. His losses were by scores of 4-1, 2-1, and 3-1. So he pitched very well in those games. And then he had 2 no decisions, both of which the Mets lost in 11 innings. So he was long gone before the decision was final on that. He was the ace of the 1969 Amazing Mets, the world champions. In that year, he went 25-7 with a 2.21 ERA. 1971 was also a banner year. He went 20-10 with a 1.76 stingy ERA. And in 75, he went 22-9 with a 2.38 ERA. All 3 of those were his Cy Young Award-winning years. He was traded from the Mets to the Reds in 1977. And after being traded to the Reds, he went 14-3 with a 2.34 ERA in 1977. Unfortunately, that was not quite enough to allow the Reds to catch the Dodgers, who had a big lead in the playoff race that year. Also in 1981, the strike-shortened season, he was 14-2 with a 2.54 ERA. For those of you who don't remember, the Reds had the best record in the National League for sure, I believe, in baseball, but finished in second in both halves. Since they had the strike in the middle of the season, they split the season in half. They finished second to the Astros and second to the Dodgers and failed to make the playoffs, even though they had the overall best record in the majors. A few other accomplishments. He had 61 career shutouts, which ties him for 7th all-time with Nolan Ryan. In 1970, he set a major league record by striking out 10 consecutive batters. Happened to be the final 10 of the game to close out a 2-1 win against the Padres. That is still the record today, although it has been tied by Phillies pitcher Aaron Nola a few years ago. Tom pitched 5 one-hitters with the Mets. 2 of those one-hitters were no-hitters going into the 9th, and they were broken up in the 9th inning. And then he did pitch a no-hitter in 1978 with the Reds against the Cardinals.
Now a strike away from his first major league no-hitter. The Reds leading at 4-0 in the 9th inning. Hendrick puts a head of the bat on the plate. Werner hangs a sign. Seaver with a pause, the check and the pitch. He bounces to first base. Dreesen has it. He goes to the bag, and Seaver's got it. Tom Seaver has pitched his first major league no-hitter.
He's widely considered one of the best, if not the best, pitcher of the 1970s. He's also considered by many the best pitcher in Mets history, and by a lot of people the best player in Mets history. After he retired, Tom was considered a very, very good broadcaster. He broadcast for both the Mets and the Yankees for many years. He worked for the networks as well, sometimes in World Series broadcasts and in All-Star games, and even did so during his career when he wasn't participating. Unfortunately, we lost Tom a few years ago at the age of 75 due to complications from COVID, and also he was struggling from dementia at the time. So Tom is gone way too soon. He was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 1992, 98.86% of the vote, which was the highest percentage of the vote of all time at that point. Again, that's since been surpassed by Mariano Rivera, but that was the highest vote total of all time. So let's get to looking at some cards, and then I'll share with you the story about him, how he became a Met here in just a few.
All right, here we go. These cards are ungraded. They basically are filling gaps where I don't have cards in my graded run. But we'll go through those here pretty quickly for you. Got a nice little 1968. It's probably graded probably a 3 or a 4. It's got some surface issues. I like it, but I'm probably going to shoot for anywhere from a 5 to a 7, just depending on the day and the budget. But aside from that, just a nice looking card right there. Next, we're going to jump all the way to 1976 set. This is a 75 record breaker. The cut top to bottom tells you all you need to know there. That's just not something that I want to send off for grading. Again, most of these cards are pretty nice. They're just not quite there. This is a pretty doggone nice 81 tops. Just got a little bit of a tilt to it, as you can see here, probably left to right. Just not going to quite get to where I want to be grading. As I get into the 80s, I'm looking for 9s and 10s. I mean, I'll take an 8 here or there, but I really don't want to send cards off to get a bunch of 8s. So if they're on the borderline, I'm probably just going to look for them cheaply already graded. Here's an 81 Donruss. Again, nice looking card, but it's got a pretty healthy diamond cut. So I don't know if I'm holding it right where you can see it or not, but that one's diamond cut even more than the last one there. Not good. 82 tops. Really nice card here, and you're not going to be able to see it, I don't think, but there is a surface bubble somewhere right around here. It's too big. It's not going to get the grade that I want. Here's an 82, or here's another 82 in action. Again, nice card, borderline. Just not going to take shot and then get back a bunch of 8s on 80s cards. 82 Donruss. You can see the top and bottom cut is all you need to see there. Just cut way too short at the bottom. Really nice color and photo on this one, which was not always the case with early Donruss cards. Next, I got 3 Fleer 82s. First one is a nice shot here of Tom. This one is card number 82 in 82. Again, all of these Fleers here, I'd say are probably pretty good chances of 9s. It's a dynamic duo with Bench and Seaver. Just haven't been motivated to take those shots yet. Maybe down the road. Or maybe I just find them, like I said, find them already graded. Here's another Tom Seaver later in the series. That one's a 645 and an 82 Fleer. Got a really nice 82 Fleer set, so these came out of that. Next up is 83 Tops. It's a super veteran card. Just shows the early days with the Mets and then the current picture at the time with the Reds. This one, again, if you can see, you call it diamond cut, I'll call it tilt. But you can see the top there is just, again, it's askew just a little bit, enough that I'm not going to send it off to be graded. Next is a pretty darn nice 83 Fleer. This one could get graded. I think on the top corner maybe it's got something that holds me back. Maybe it's the bottom corner. I can't remember. Yeah, it's the bottom right corner. So, okay, that just refreshes my memory on that one. Now we go to 84. He's back with the Mets here. Mets leaders with Mookie Wilson and Tom Seaver. Batting and pitching leaders. This one from the 84 set. Definitely corners would hold it back. I don't know if you can see that corner or not. Top left corner. I'm not a big fan of trying to get this thing. And it's not, again, not gradable to where I would want it to be. But 3 Hall of Famers on this: Steve Carlton with 300 wins, Fergie with 284, and Seaver with 273. And it even has the National League active leaders and then the Major League career leaders on the other side to give you a little bit of history with it. But if you'll notice at the time, Phil Niekro was right behind Seaver. Nolan Ryan had over 200 wins at that point. Mike Torres and Joe Niekro and Jerry Royce were high on this list of the current active players. Next, 84 Fleer Seaver. The 84 Fleer set grew on me. I just didn't get it. I couldn't get it a whole lot. Preferred the tops because I was always chasing the Mattingly rookie, and we hardly ever saw Donruss. And so when we did see Donruss, we bought Donruss. So that kind of put Fleer in third place in that sense. At 85, it's really nice, just top to bottom and left to right, both ways. This one actually would qualify for an 8. I've measured it, but an 8 is a max it can get. And again, I'm not going to send a card in where I know the max is an 8 and there's a chance that somehow it comes out a 7. That just doesn't make sense for 80s cards like these. This is an 85 Donruss. This is the Floyd Bannister photo error card. In later series, they corrected that with a photo of Seaver. And this one came out of a set, obviously came from an earlier run, but has the Floyd Bannister. And this, my understanding, is the more available copy, if you will. There were more printed of this card than there were the corrected version later. All right, a few more here. We got Turn Back the Clock from 1986. Picture of his 76 card. Almost reminds you of those Kmart MVP cards from the early 80s. But you see, 10 years ago, shows a little bit and gives a little bit of information on it. So we'll turn back the clock. Next up, an 86 Donruss. I liked this set. I thought it was underrated. There is two versions of this, one with the green lines above and below his name, another one with yellow. I have not been able to determine whether there's really any difference in terms of rarity or cost or value, if you will. This one comes straight out of my set, and the corner on it is not good enough to do much with other than just sit happily in my complete set. Next up is 86 Traded. Going to the Red Sox for his final season. As you can see, the 101T got the brighter back, more similar to the Tiffany's. It just doesn't have the bright high gloss that Tiffany's did. But this is an 86 Traded. And again, you can see the centering top to bottom just keeps it ungraded. And the last card we have is an 87 Tom Seaver in a Red Sox uniform. Nice action photo there. He did not play in 87. He went back to the Mets, I do believe, in spring training and just couldn't get it rolling and decided to retire in spring training. So there's just not enough good innings left in his arm. But this is a nice looking card. This is in nice condition. I've considered grading this. I think it would max at a 9, and 10s aren't that expensive. So I'm probably just going to buy a 10 of that card. So that's all right. That's all the ungraded cards we have. Now I'm going to go back over real quickly how Seaver became a Met and a few other little tidbits about his early days. And then we'll get into the graded run here shortly after that.
Now let's talk about how Seaver got there in the first place. Seaver graduated high school, was on the smaller side, and went into the military. And at that time in the military, he gained size and strength, hit a growth spurt, and enrolled at Fresno City College. Pitched a year at Fresno City College. He was 11-2 with a 1.58 ERA, had 10 complete games and 13 starts, and had 132 strikeouts. He moved on to USC after that year, after being scouted by USC coach Rod Dedeaux in the Alaskan Summer League, which is one of the premier college baseball summer leagues. So he went to USC. He went 10-2 there with a 2.47 ERA and 100 strikeouts at USC. He was drafted after that season by the Dodgers, who sent Tommy Lasorda to deal with him and try to get him signed. Apparently, the Dodgers had a figure in mind of $2,000, where Seaver had already asked them for $50,000 to keep him from going back to USC. Obviously, that didn't happen, so they moved on. He went back to USC, but before they played their next season, In the January secondary draft, the Braves selected Seaver 20th overall in that draft in the first round and agreed to meet his demands. So on February 24th, the Braves signed Seaver to a contract that was a $40,000 signing bonus, $4,000 for school, and $7,000 of a bonus if and when he made the major leagues. However, on March 2nd, Major League Baseball Commissioner William Eckert voided that contract and said that the Braves had broken a rule. A Major League rule stated that you could not sign a player once their college season had began. And it turned out that USC had played 2 exhibition games. Seaver did not participate in any, but they had played in 2 exhibition games at that point, therefore making him ineligible for the MLB draft, or ineligible to be signed, and thus the contract voided. So Seaver decided to go back to USC. Unfortunately, the NCAA would not allow him to be eligible because he signed a professional contract. So Seaver was kind of stuck in the middle. After some back and forth, the Commissioner Eckert decided that he would fine the Braves, not allow the Braves to sign Seaver, but would allow any other major league team that would match that contract offer to enter a special lottery for Seaver's rights. The only three teams that did were the Indians, Phillies, and the Mets. And the Mets joined late because their president, Weiss, did not want to do so, but his staff talked him into doing so at the very last minute. So they got in to the draft and won it. So the next day, the Mets signed Seaver. Seaver was assigned to Jacksonville, the International League. He went 12-12 with a 3.13 ERA in his only minor league season. And within a calendar year of that time, he was in the major leagues and was headed towards his Rookie of the Year season in 1967. Now let's look at the rest of the cards, the graded run that I have, and we'll wrap this thing up.
All right, you've seen all of the ungraded cards that I have. Now we know how Tom became a New York Met through a commissioner's lottery. And let's get to the graded run here and start with late in his career and work back towards the beginning. We got a mint 9 on a 1986 Topps Tough issue with the black borders. I just had that one recently graded. After that, we got a 84 Donruss and a Gem Mint 10. Again, really nice and sharp card, great color, just really jumps off the page, so to speak. Now we got a mint 9 and an 84 with the Mets. When he left the Reds and went back to the Mets briefly. Got a nice 9 there. Here we got a 10 and an 83 Donruss. Again, mid wind-up shot. Get a lot of those mid deliveries with him. Really great color. Just pops off the card. I'm happy with this 10. Got another 10 on our 83 Topps. Here's another mid delivery shot from a different angle. Nicely centered card. Looks good. Happy to have it at 10. This might be the last 10 I have, I believe. An 82 All-Star version. And got a Gem Mint 10 on it. Again, now we've got a 1980 Mint 9. One of my favorite sets growing up. Might have been my second favorite to the 75 set when I was buying packs as a kid. But nice shot. Well-centered card. Happy with that 9. Another 9 I'm really happy with is a 1979. You don't see a whole lot of 79 Topps that are this well centered without the tilt or diamond cut, if you will. Just a really, really nice sharp card there. We got one more 9 in a 1978. I got a nice pose shot there. Like it with the reds and the yellow border, interior border on that. Just goes sharply and goes well with the uniform. This was a recent pickup. This is a near mint 8 and a 77 Topps. You can see the extra one in the background. Get that posed up there and see if I can kill some of that glare. Again, mid delivery, great color. Just a really, really pretty card. Happy to have that. Happy to have it in an 8. A 9's a pretty expensive card. Next up, 1976 in an 8. Not my favorite pose of his, but still happy to have that card in an 8. Next up, my 75. Goes right here. Just, again, I'm a 75 guy, so I can just sit there and look at that and admire it. Again, the blue and the orange and the yellow goes well with the colors of the Mets uniforms. Happy to have that one. Another 8 is 1974. We got a horizontal orientation on it. Again, love that photo. Love catching him and as he's following through right after releasing the ball. Just a really, really nice card there. Next, we got an 8 and a 73. All these that you see in the background, those are all extras. All 3 of the graded ones are 7s, and they were all upgraded at some point. So here is the nicely centered 73 and an 8. Now we have a beautiful near mint 7 1971. Man, these things are so tough with those black borders. Just really, really happy to have this card. It's centered well, looks good, and you get into some big dollars if you're going to go higher graded than that. And I'm very, very happy to have this one in my collection, and plan on hanging on to that one for a long, long time. 1970, we've got 2. This is the gray border, not one of my favorite sets, but this one has 4 Hall of Famers on it. The pitching leaders card with Phil Necro, Fergie Jenkins, and Juan Marichal, as well as Tom. And we got that one in a near mint 8. That's another one that I just recently had graded, sent in to be graded. Pick this one up. This is a 6. I think it presents really well. The eye appeal on it is strong. Got the really nice blue background that's nice and bright on it. And that pops well off of the gray border. Again, not my favorite pose, not the favorite card design, but this one fits within the collection. I may upgrade it one day, but for now, I'm very, very happy to have that. And then the last graded card that I have is the 1969. This was in a VG3. I picked this up at a local card show. It was in pretty rough shape. It had some sticky stuff on the front of it, and it just basically had a bunch of dirt and stuff on his face, and a simple wipe with a microfiber cloth, and took most of that stuff off. So the surface actually looks good. The colors look strong. The centering is good. The corners just aren't there. I'd hoped to get a 4, but I knew a 4 was as good as it was going to get. And I don't know, again, how well I can center him without messing up a glare on this. But again, the corners just weren't going to get it more than a 4 anyway. So at some point I'll upgrade that one, but for now, that one will work just fine. So as you can see, the 2 that I don't have are the rookie card in 67. That'll probably be the last card that I pick up. And the 1972. I would like to pick that up in probably a near mint 7 or so sometime soon, but I'm being very picky with the one that I purchased. I've passed on a few that the centering just wasn't quite to my liking on them. So that's all the graded cards we have. That's our ode to Tom Seaver. I want to thank you for joining me. Thank you for sticking it out to the end of the video. Please like the video, push that thumbs up button if you liked it. Subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more. I've got a great video coming out here soon on my 1975 Hall of Fame registry, which is 80 cards and is now complete. And also a couple of other interesting videos that I hope that you'll like as well. So once again, thank you. I appreciate it. Throw me some comments on which cards you like best. Are there any of my cards that you like the best? Are there any just Tom Seaver cards in general that you like better than others? I'd love to hear your thoughts on those. And come back and spend some time with me again. And again, thank you very much and have a great rest of your day.